Due to the strong Scandinavian presence during the late 19th century, Astoria has seen its fair number of Lutheran churches, beginning around the 1870s. Between that time and into the next century, Astoria was home to at least 14 Lutheran congregations and 10 Lutheran churches amid its small population of about 7,000. One of the largest divides between those congregations was their country of origin and the languages used for services and among the people. You had the Finnish, Swedish, and Norwegians, but also the Germans, all worshiping in different places. But even amid certain ethnic groups, there was further splitting depending on specific theological perspectives. The second major divide for these churches was location. Astoria was built on a hill and for a long time was separated by a large body of water where the hospital stands today, called Scout Bay. We first found Norwegian Lutherans in 1877 with the Scandinavian Evangelical Lutheran Congregation. In Upper Town, Astoria's east side, in 1888, First Lutheran Church was built for Norwegian worshippers over on 29th and Grand. That building is no longer there. Other denominationally different Upper Town Norwegians of the Betania Lutheran Church bought a small church from the Swedish Lutherans on the south side of 34th and Franklin. That was in 1892. Eventually, the church was knocked down and a new church was built a block over and across the street the next year in 1893. It was later called Bethany Lutheran Church. Today, that building is a private residence. In 1880, the first Swedish Lutheran Church was established. They built their church on 35th and Franklin in Upper Town, just down the street from their old location and from Norwegian Bethany Lutheran Church. German Lutherans were established sometime around the 1870s. They were affiliated with the Memorial Lutheran Church, which was built in 1908 just south of downtown Astoria on Grand between 12th and 14th. About where 13th would be. Because remember, there was no 13th up there. Today you can find what little is left of it, which is a small set of steps and a part of the retaining wall. In 1929, the Swedish First Evangelical Lutheran Church and the Memorial Lutheran Church merged to form Trinity Lutheran at 16th and Franklin. The Finns established the Finnish Synodal Lutheran Church in 1873. 10 years later, their first church was built on a lot in the Scout Bay area at 18th and Exchange Streets, and mostly by volunteer Finn labor. It is possibly the first church building in America built entirely by and for Finns alone. Almost 10 years later, in 1891, a fierce storm destroyed the church, and a second church was built at 677 18th Street. It stood for about 75 years. Over time, the Trinity Lutheran Church began to face problems, coping with finances, maintenance of an aging facility, decline in membership, lack of young people, and resignation of their pastor. Zion was also facing similar problems, but not yet as pronounced. In 1974, Trinity and Zion merged to form Peace Lutheran Church. The merger became official when a motion was made during the morning worship service on Sunday, November 3rd. It passed unanimously. The service had special significance because it was held on All Saints Sunday, and the church was filled to capacity. As part of the move, church officials acquired multiple items from Trinity, including the stained glass in the narthex and some of the pews, which now sit in the choir loft. Trinity's church building was acquired by Clatsop Community College and reopened as a performing arts center in 1977. 10 years later, Peace Lutheran got its second bell. This one originally rang in the First Swedish Evangelical Lutheran Church, then Trinity. Over the years, Peace Lutheran Church has gone through a handful of interior remodelings, but all in all, there has never been any kind of additions or subtractions from the original foundation and concrete walls that were poured in 1947. And as we approach this church building's 75th anniversary, it remains well preserved with continued care by its members as it sits as a monument to the Lutheran roots of Astoria's past.